Hey guys, welcome into the live stream. I'm super excited to be with y'all today. This is our first ever YouTube live stream on Yoders Talk. We finished the last season of our podcast, and we're not coming on till March, and we felt like, you know what, we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to go live and just have a good conversation, interact with y'all, and just have a good time today. So welcome in to the channel. As always, Clinton Yoder here, co-host Corey McClendon, and we are excited to be here today with you. So Corey, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to get this conversation started. So we're gonna go through what it looks like, the characteristics that is built around a purposeful leader today. And so we're gonna have just a few that we think kind of goes into making a purposeful leader, but we want you to stick around because we just right after season 3, we hit a pretty big accomplishment. We got over 100,000 followers, and we got something in the mail. So we're gonna open.
And we got that last week, right?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Got it last week, and so after we get done talking, we're gonna open this up and see what the wonderful people of YouTube sent us, and so we're really excited about that. And I've been bugging everyone crazy because I'm ready to open this box. So
I've had to hide it from people because I said, you know what, y'all have got us where we are, so you get to experience what we get to experience for the first time live. So I'm excited to do it.
I'm ready.
I'm ready for it. But yeah, and also, today this is going to be an interactive thing. There's chat here. Corey's going to be throwing questions into the chat there. We'd love to hear responses, questions, things of that nature. But it's going to be a relaxed environment.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to just have a good time with y'all for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, wherever it kind of ends up at. So we just appreciate each one joining us so far, and as people continue to come in, we can hopefully have some good conversation. So let's get it kicked off.
Yeah. So we kind of pulled out 10 characteristics of a purposeful leader, and so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through each characteristics, and I'm going to kind of talk to you about it, ask you to give your insight.
Yes.
Chat, I'm going to be putting that question in for you, so please let us know in the chat what you think, your response to that question. But the first one up, man, to me, when I think of a purposeful leader, I think of authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So they're real. They build trust and credibility through that, and when they do that, they become genuine to their team members.
Yes.
And so and all that ends up doing, it really impacts the team by creating just a stronger bond. And I think a lot of times you're a great embodiment of that, because you're the same on this podcast, in a meeting, when we're in Africa, we're on trips, at the hunting land, all that. You're kind of the same person in and out. Mm-hmm. And so for me, and I'm gonna ask you this question, then I'm gonna put the question in the chat. What I want to hear from Clinton is, what does authenticity mean to you, and how have you seen it strengthen your leadership?
Well, that's the man. First and foremost, all these things that we're going over today are things that we individually have seen that we've had to embody as a purposeful leader. But answering that question, man, so I've learned this over the years, and again, I'm still young in business and still a young leader, but this became so real to me about being authentic years back. So during good times, a leader can fake who he is easily. Mm-hmm. It's actually very simple to do. His attitude, the way he carries himself, in good times, it's easy to hide it. But I will tell you this, that tough times will 100% expose a leader that is not authentic and that is not who he who he truly is.
Yeah.
Within.
Yeah.
It always does. Stressful times bring out the true personalities of an individual. And that's not just in leadership. That's kind of just overall in life. You know, when we hit tough times, hey, guess who comes out? You know, that real person. So I believe that another thing it really does is it helps the team realize that they can be that too.
Yeah.
They can be authentic. Be themselves. I encourage each leader out there and you know, leaders in our company, in our team, you know, don't try to be someone you're not. I hired you for who you are.
Yeah.
And so be that. Be authentic. And so, yeah, I've seen businesses destroyed because a leader came in and said, you know, there's a slogan out, fake it till you make it. And that's you know, I get it in a way, but you can't do that when it comes to your personality.
Yeah.
You can't. Now you can learn and you can grow. I believe that I believe my leaders and people around me have as well, growing in the sense of, you know, we've worked through things that maybe personalities and things that maybe ain't so good, you know, because if you're yourself, then we're going to also be there and show out. So at times you got to kind of continue to grow.
Knock the edges off.
Yeah, knock the edges off of the things that probably are not so good. You could say. And so I just believe that it's so important. And my team that's listening this morning, you know, we said that we're wanting to talk directly to y'all and focus a little bit more internally. You know, be yourself. If I could say anything else, and if you're listening to this, be yourself. And the things that you need to grow in, man, keep working, keep fighting. It's not easy, and it comes with time.
Yeah.
So.
And that I can say from my perspective, that's one of the things that it makes it easy coming to work. I don't have to, you know, there's a lot of places that you've got your work life, you've got your home life. You know, here, because you've done a great job of leading the team, of being who we are, and you hired us for us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have two different personas. I don't sit here and go, okay, I got to take the work hat off and put the home hat on. It's just, I'm Corey.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you see me at work or you see me at the grocery store, I try to be that same person. Mm-hmm. And that's really great. It definitely helps me. Well, let's keep moving on, because the next one that I kind of highlighted is purpose driven. So for a leader to be purposeful, I know that's kind of redundant, but they have to be purpose driven. And so it acts as a guiding compass. When you have a target you're looking at, it provides that direction and resiliency during challenges, and increases engagement and strengthens commitment and inspires the team to go above and beyond. And so I think for us, a lot of times things get hairy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things get crazy in a business, and, you know, stuff doesn't always go right. And I know that's hard to think. You know, the team that's listening, you know, y'all could think of 5 examples off the top of your head of like stuff that's went haywire and we've had to just kind of go. But the thing is, when we keep that purpose of why we do what we do in our minds, it kind of makes it all worth it.
Absolutely.
And so, Clinton, you know, how has having that clear purpose in our heads shaped your leadership?
Well, you know, I didn't realize till probably 5 years ago the importance of purpose focused, purpose driven. I know that's kind of like you said, it's what we talk about all the time on this podcast. It's what our podcast is about. But a purposeful leader has to have purpose. I mean, it's in the words.
Yeah.
But for me, man, a few years back, I realized that you cannot lead a team without a clear purpose. And my purpose, you said it in the beginning when we were talking about this, that purpose gives direction. It makes so that when we're, you know, in the middle of it, when we're in the fight and things get a little cloudy, you could say, it keeps everybody in line, keeps everybody zoned in. And, each one of God has given each of us a purpose. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing that I will say in my life is when I realized that God has me here for a kingdom impact purpose. And I work through figuring that out, understanding that. That's when everything really came together for me. Mm-hmm. That's when the puzzle pieces kind of landed. And it shaped, it 100% shaped my leadership. It shaped who I wanted to be as a leader. It shaped it's the core of everything I do.
Yeah.
You take it out, I guess you could say it's the heartbeat of what we do.
Yeah. And
guess what? You take that out, what happens? It dies. Take the heartbeat out, it dies. So then I've learned that and purpose can be, you can have multiple leaders in an organization, and they all kind of have, the business has its own purpose, but they can even have their own individual purpose within that. And I encourage all my leaders to find that, because we each individually have that mm-hmm. within us. God's given us that. He said he gave us that before we were even born.
Yeah.
He had a plan for us. He knew that. He knew that. I mean, that's found in His Word, and it's clear. So find your purpose, man. And it's one of the, I would say it's probably, in my eyes, probably number one on the characteristic poll.
Yeah.
If you would say that.
You have to have it.
It's where it starts.
It's the foundation. And so just thinking through in chat, I'm putting questions in there. And hello, Amy. See, Amy entered the chat. Authenticity, true, caring, honesty, humility, recognizing each person and value, and serving God, not self, willing to learn and grow. And that's great.
Yes. Amy.
So while we're, like I say, we want to interact. So I'm putting questions in there. So check the chat and respond to them. Just want a reminder on that. But yeah, purpose, having that purpose driven, that focus is so important. But let's go to the next one, Clinton. Visionary.
That ties right into purpose.
100%. But the vision, though, man, the Bible says that that if you have where there is no vision, the people perish. Mm-hmm. And so the thing about a visionary leader and that characteristics is it helps the team see how they tie into the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so obviously even in a small business, you may have one person in sales, you may have one person that is in purchasing, and one person's actually producing the product. And it's easy, they all have their individual, what we would say, KRAs. Mm-hmm. But it's that leader's job to help them understand how it affects the other teams, and it ties into the big picture, the big, the purpose mm-hmm. of what we do. And so, but it oftentimes when you lead you have a visionary leader in your organization, it energizes the team, it keeps them focused, and oftentimes it encourages innovation.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
What would you say, or how do you create and communicate that vision that inspires our team?
Well, I'll say this, that I believe that we talked about purpose right before this, and I believe that, again, purpose is the core principle. Why does God have me here? But then I think the next step is, okay, this is why I'm here. This is the God-given purpose. So out of that, what can I envision in the future by embodying my purpose and vision in the future of a world that is better, you could say. And, for us, a vision got to start from within. Mm-hmm. It has to come from deep. It has to be a desired outcome, I guess you could say, that hasn't occurred yet, because it's vision. Mm-hmm. You're looking ahead. You're looking in the future, and you have to embody that. You have to truly just embody that vision, again, out of your purpose. Mm-hmm. That's the way I believe it works, and that's the way it worked for me, is finding that purpose, that God-given purpose first, and then saying, okay, out of that, God, what do I need? What do I want to see down the road? And if I should have it here, but I'm gonna pull this up real quick, Corey, on just read ours. The reason I got to read it is because we worked on it a little bit at the end of this last year, kind of revamped our vision statement, and I just want to look that up real quick. I have it here, and I should have it memorized already, but I'm also human, so I do not exactly remember what it says here. So just a second, I'm going to pull that up. And team, I promise you I will be able to quote it very shortly here if you're listening. Let's see here. There it is. Mission, vision. So our vision statement has been changed. It says, I see a future where people transform themselves, their homes, their community, and the world by embracing heartfelt leadership and a spirit of servanthood that lasts for generations. That is my vision. That's what I want to see down the road. And you know, for me as the leader here, I have to also not just ask others. I mean, I'm asking others to kind of help me carry out my vision. Yeah. That's really what I'm doing. Yeah. And so what's really beautiful is when you get a group of leaders, a group of people together that kind of have that same vision, have that same heart for that same vision. That's when you get power. That's when you get just, you know, people bought in. Yeah. And that's what I think has happened is finding the purpose, then the vision has created a buy-in mentality in our organization that I want to be part of that vision and I want to see it come to light and seeing things come out of that vision already has been just amazing to me. It's really helped me understand that this is right. This is what God has us here for.
It's like I said earlier, it's energizing.
Yes, very much so.
And so like when you see, okay, we just came out of strategic planning meetings, right? And so that's what we're doing. We're taking where we were and we're casting vision for the future and seeing some of those things start to come to life. Mm-hmm. And see us start making little, you know, we use the analogy of does it move the needle? Mm-hmm. And so seeing that needle start to bump, mm-hmm. man, it gives you a little, you know, on those days, because here's the thing. I know that, you know, everyone thinks that we're all just great, you know, just masters of leadership, Clinton. You know, I'm of course joking, because we're just two guys that are trying to make it work, and probably our biggest success is out of our failures.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think you say that. I think that's actually, for any good leader would admit that it's out of our failures over and over and over. Yeah. And we could talk over one this last year. We had an absolute, 100%. I mean, you know, massive failure, if you could say, and but it did make us better.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, you know, we sit there and we look at the steps we're making towards this year. Uh-huh. And, man, every time, you know, you give me an update on certain situations and stuff, man, I get fired up over it. But I say all that to say this, like, there are days in leadership where you don't have 100% to give. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so you wake up and you're sitting on 75%, and that Red Bull or that Alani ain't doing it for you, you know? And so, but when you get those, hey, we're moving the needle, it's like an adrenaline shot. Mm-hmm. And so you're ready to go tackle the next challenge. And so, being a visionary leader is so important. I would say outside of purpose, it's one of the next biggest things that you need to tackle is finding what your vision is and how you can carry it out, and getting people around you that have that like-mindedness, so that you guys can have that unstoppable momentum. Yes.
And I want to say this too: you will not find your vision sitting overnight. It's not something that you can sit there and say, okay, tonight I'm gonna figure out what my vision is for my life. It doesn't work that way. It's about spending the time and thinking and letting God speak, letting God, you know, move, and it makes a big difference when you know, you step away to find that. Now, you got to start somewhere, but, you know, I remember back, I think it was about 5 years ago, I actually went to a little retreat and I didn't even know that they were going to really be talking about vision. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. And guess what came out of that was 2.5 days of just embodying what my vision is.
Yeah.
What do I feel like my vision in life? We went back to my childhood. We kind of just looked through what has created me to be who I am right now. But they started, like I said, they started out of trying to find that God-given purpose that you feel like is in your life, and it's built over time. And has it been tweaked just a little bit at times?
Yeah.
Yes, it has been a little. But I think that's also, God does allow us to, grow into our purpose a little.
100%.
So,
we're different people than we were even a year ago.
Oh, no doubt.
And so,
no doubt,
it can change. But so let's jump on into the next one. And I know we'll probably spend a pretty good bit of time on this one, because this is one of your favorite topics to talk about, Clinton, and that's being a servant leader.
Yes,
and
sir.
You guys know, if you've talked or seen any amount of our episodes, we talk about being a servant leader so much, and
probably every episode it comes up.
Oh, 100%. And
because it's what we embody.
Yeah, it's our, if we could boil down who we are as leaders into a simple, this is what kind of leadership model we go off of, it is servant leadership. And that's 100% based off the model that Jesus showed us.
Yes.
Jesus was a servant. He came to serve, not to be served. And so we try to embody that with our team too. And so when we do that, man, I'll just be quite frankly, I had a conversation the other day, and this is I know you hate when I do this.
Oh boy, what'd you do, Corey?
Well, it's not it's you hate when I talk about necessarily you and your leadership.
Okay.
And how great of a leader you are and all that stuff, but
give that flower to God.
Yeah, and that's perfect. You'll just have to do that tonight. But I was talking, just to some friends or something, and work came up, and he's like, do you ever see yourself doing anything other than what you're doing right now? And I said, I'll tell you all this right now. I said, as long as I live, and unless Jesus, and I said, it's going to have to be one of these road to Damascus things. I said, he's going to have to, I heard a comedian say one time, Jesus is going to have to show his license on that one, see some proper identification. But as long as Jesus, because I never want to put myself in a situation that, I'm changing God's plan for me. But as long as Jesus says, hey, I'm here, there's not a amount of money that's going to draw me away from this place. And that's because of your leadership. And it's because the way we lead, and you care about me, you care about my family, and you care about the individuals. And that's not just you, that's Jimmy, that's Conrad, that's, some of the other senior directors, Randall, all of them. We all try to embody that in our people. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that develops loyalty inside of our team. Mm-hmm. And so you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
So
thank you.
Give some flowers on that.
But, yeah, we'll accept the flowers, but then we'll give that bouquet to God. Have we shared that on here?
I don't think we ever have.
Should I share that?
Let's share it real quick.
All right. So there's a I'm the type of person that I do not like compliments. I'll just be honest. I do not like them. And there was someone that told me this. I think it was my coach that said this. I know a lot of y'all probably have heard me say it. If you're in my business, you've heard me say it. But so when somebody gives you compliments, what do? Do you allow it to become prideful? So that nature. But anyway, there was this lady that was in the military, I think it was, and she was known for her heroicness. She saved a lot of lives. She was a great soldier. Anyway, and when she retired, she became a very well-known speaker, speaking about her experience, and had really affected a lot of people in a very good, positive way. And one day there was this gentleman came up and asked her this question. They said, where you come from and where you are today, I have noticed that you get compliments all the time. People are just, saying how great of a person you are, and all these things. But you remain so humble. Mm-hmm. And how is that possible? How do you do that? And her comment was this, and this is what I want y'all to hear, and why you hear the thing about flowers a lot from us. She said this. She said, well, I've learned over the years that I have to figure out a way to keep compliments from making my heart get too big, making my head get too big. So she said, I gotta go to the source of where all that I've been blessed with has came from, and that is the big man upstairs, God, our Savior. And she said, so what I do is, throughout the day, I accept these flowers all day long. These compliments are flowers. I view them as someone giving me a flower. She said, I collect all these flowers all day long. And you know, when you get multiple flowers, what do you get? You create a bouquet. And so when I go home at night, I intentionally get down on my knees, and in prayer, I take my flowers, my bouquet that I've received throughout the day, and I give it to God. I give it to the one that truly is the reason why I'm able to be who I am. And so I thought that's just such a beautiful thing. You know, sometimes it's hard to take compliments. So view them as flowers coming to you. But then here's the thing. Don't keep them.
Yeah.
Give them to the guy, to the man that actually, or to God who actually made you who you are.
Yeah.
And giving you the ability to be that.
And that's something we, as a team, especially around Yoders Talk, we try to constantly talk about that. Because, you know, especially with this and hitting this achievement, you know, that was one of the things that we all talked about is, you know, there was a lot of people that congratulated us and all those things, and we really do appreciate it, because it's something I don't think when we started this we thought we'd ever achieve it. It's just been something great.
Yes.
And so, but that was one of the first things that when we have our group chat, that, hey, let's make sure tonight when we go to bed, let's give those flowers to God.
Yes.
And so, but it's awesome. That's an awesome way to look at it. Getting back on servant leader, I want to ask you, Clinton.
Okay.
And you, I think, are just going to knock this one out of the park. But what do you think, or why do you think servant leadership is such a powerful approach?
Man, you know, you say I'll knock it out of the park, but man, I'll tell you this, that I've tried to lead both ways. I've tried to lead at a time in my life early on where it was not a servant approach. It was a me approach. And I see nothing but hurt. I see nothing but destruction, you could say, in the wake of that. And so I realized that there's one leader that sets the ultimate example, and that's Christ. And in his word, it's very clear that we are to be like him. We are to be, you know, to follow after what he did. And so the day that I decided, you know, I'm going to fully embody the leadership of Christ in my life and serve from and lead from a direction of service, servanthood in mind. What can I do for others? What can my business do for others? And always keeping that first and foremost in my life has changed everything. It's given me a sense of peace. It's given me a sense of direction. And I believe that leading from servanthood will truly change lives more than any other form of leadership. I actually know it will. And so you ask the question, why does you think it's the most powerful approach? It's because who's the one that has all the power, and that's Christ. And leading by his example. I mean, that's the easiest answer you could give. Now we could go 10 steps deeper into servant leadership. You know, I could. I love it. Yeah. I just absolutely embody it. I love seeing that. I love seeing leaders, you know, in our team, and not just in our team, in the world today, you know, saying, you know what, this isn't about me.
Yeah.
This isn't about me. And I'm going to let it be 100% about others. I'm going to get in the front. I'm going to pull from the front. I'm going to blaze the path. And guess what? I'm going to bring others with me along the way.
Yeah.
Guess what? And I wish I could remember his name. But there's one guy that says, you know, if you get enough people what they need and what they want, you'll never have to worry about your needs and your wants.
Yeah.
And you don't do it for that reason, but it's so true.
Yeah. Well, I think I forget, there was a article I read one time about how this organization was trying to figure out how to increase their customer service and stuff. And the leader, he didn't call it this, but as I'm reading the article, I'm like, that's servant leadership is what that is. He went above and beyond to take care of his people and to meet the needs of his team.
Mm-hmm.
And then his team started taking care of the needs of the customers and the clients and stuff. And so he called it, I think he called it like trickle down customer service.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And I was like, man, that's great. It's great. It's catchy. But what it is servant leadership, because he said that his team, if they're not worried about the stuff that they have going on in their life, the only thing they worry about is how to do their job better
and take care of the people that they're serving.
The people they're serving, and so I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, that's servant leadership, baby.
Yeah, and I love what you said that about serving the see the thing is, leadership starts with serving your team first, and you're right, it's a trickle down effect, 100%. But that customer that comes in to purchase, I mean, you're sales director at Yoder Metal. When that customer comes in and sits down in front of a salesman, you have helped our salesman understand that I'm not selling them a product, I'm serving them.
Yeah.
They have a need. I'm here to serve that need.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it starts, it starts with me. I cannot expect my team to lead with service if I'm not 100% giving a clear example of that.
Yeah. And you do a great job of it, and the next tier does a great job. Well, I hope my tier does a great job of it. And I know my guys in my team, that's what the one thing that I hear, because in our one-on-ones and stuff, we talk about roadblocks and stuff. When we have a time that maybe we can't provide the level of customer service that we want to, maybe timeline or something like that, they don't say, well, we can't turn out jobs faster, so I can't make money. They say it like this. They say, that's not good service.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I love that when I hear it. And a shout out to Leo, because he's one of the main ones that's a sticking point for him. So, but man, I just think servant leadership, man, it embodies so much. It allows that loyalty, that trust, that collaboration, and then it just builds strong relationships inside of the business.
Yes.
And creates such a positive culture.
And I'm gonna make a comment here too. Sometimes you hear this servant leadership so much in today's world. You hear it all the time. Well, you need to be a servant leader. And I say it all the time. There's times I look at it and I say, has that phrase been warped?
Mm-hmm.
Has that phrase been changed? Maybe because it sounds good, so everybody uses it. And I believe so. You can say I'm a servant leader. You can say you're a servant leader. You can say all these things. But let me tell you something. Servant leadership is all about action. Servant leadership is 100% about action. It's about acting from the heart. If you just say it, it's as dull as it's nothing. And so I just wanted to make that comment that servant leadership, that phrase has gotten warped so much. And I'll say this, that you say if you say you're a servant leader, there's again I shared earlier, there's one way to figure it out if you truly are, and that is say, okay, here's how I lead. Now let me compare it to how Christ led when he was here on this earth. And if it's completely opposite of what Christ did, you might want to work on reevaluate that. Correct.
It's an action statement.
Yes, it is, absolutely.
It's 100% on what you're doing, and
absolutely.
So. Well, all right. Well, let's jump over to the next one. Excellent communicator, and this is so. I know I get labeled as a communicator sometimes, but I wouldn't say always I'm an excellent communicator. And this is something that even if you think you got it dialed in, keep working on it. One of the things that I've always heard say is when communicating to your team, say it so much that your team gets sick of whatever you're trying to communicate, and then say it about 5 more times.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yes.
But it minimizes confusion.
Yeah, it does.
And because here's the thing, There's things that are hectic. There's things that are going on. Your people have stuff that going on that you don't even know about. And so it can become confusing at times. And so being an excellent communicator is so important. It sets the expectations for your guys, and like I say, it goes into that servant leadership, strengthens the relationship.
What does Jimmy, and I'll call you out Jimmy here, what does Jimmy always say about he says, inspect what you expect, but I think that's even kind of a form of communication.
Yeah.
You sit here and you say that I expect this. How many times have we we expected someone to do something, but they never really were told to do it.
Yeah.
And so when you inspect it, sometimes that opens your eyes to, hey, that wasn't communicated well.
Yeah. That's a big deal with, especially with Jimmy, and I'm trying to embody this in my team. Just saying it one or two times in passing or in a one-on-one or whatever sometimes doesn't get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's, okay, I feel like I did a good job communicating this new initiative, this new task or whatever, but when I circle back around, he says we inspect what we expect. And so when I circle back around and I check it, well, my first question is not go to my team member, but, hey, why ain't this happening?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I kind of expected.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the confusion?
Right.
And it puts the burden back on me as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I didn't do as good of a job as communicating that as I needed to. Maybe I should have said it a different way. And so that's always, that's one of the things I'm working on this year and that's been great from Jimmy. So shout out to Jimmy. Appreciate you, guy.
Yes.
So what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned about communication as a leader?
Okay. Ooh, we could be here for an hour. Give you a few of those. Man, I think it's this. I have lost relationships in business because I didn't communicate properly. 100% have lost relationships in business due to my ability not to communicate well years back. And I've seen that trying to become a good, purposeful leader, that communication is okay. Let's just say this: if you expect something to reach a target, and you have, or let's say you're trying to capture this target. Say you're in the Army, and you have 50 soldiers that are supposed to capture this target, and you say, "Go capture this target," and you let them go. Is that good communication? No, it's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is about talking through details, making sure everybody understands. And what good communication does is it keeps people from falling off and getting off of the true direction of where our company wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's even in just everyday small tasks, things that are small, things that are not, maybe you could say as important. It even matters in those things.
Yeah.
One thing that I've got to a point that I just despise is when I find out that we're, somebody in our company is not doing, maybe a good job, and we're looking at maybe we need to be making a change or something there, and I ask the question, well, do they know that they're actually not doing their job?
Yeah.
And I find out that that's not the case. That well, I think I did. If I hear I think I did from a leader, that 100% tells me they did not communicate.
Yeah.
I think I did. You should know you did.
Yeah.
I know I communicated that well, but they chose not to at that point. So, but yeah, I would say for me, what I've learned is that it will 100% ruin good relationships. I've had great employees, great team members that I did not communicate well with, that either left me or I thought they were not a fit.
Yeah.
Because I didn't communicate well. Just recently I had a conversation with one of our team members right now that my communication level with them has been absolutely garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And what that's done for me is say, kind of looking at them saying, hey, are they right? But then when I started picking that communication up, I realized, man, they're absolutely a valuable part of this organization.
Yeah.
But it came after my communication picked up, after I made sure they understood what they were trying, what they were supposed to achieve. So yeah, just if you're under communicating as a leader, I mean, your purpose will not come to light. I mean, it just won't happen.
Yeah.
So over communicate. Get to a point where your team laughs at you about it.
Yeah. And then communicate some more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and sometimes, be tactful about it. And so choose your moments to communicate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I say sometimes is, sometimes, especially with the sales team, we're very fast moving, right? Mm-hmm. And so to tell them on top of everything else they got to remember to actually do the job, and then we come in with, well, we need to do this, and this, and then also we need to add this, and then 2 days later we got to add this. Over communication cannot be over communicating several different tasks can also be a detriment.
Yeah, and I want almost to jump in there and say this, that the reason that is, Corey, because you can actually get caught up thinking that you're communicating well.
Yeah.
Because I talked to him, because what is communication? It's, in a form, it's talking. I mean, it can be done through email, whatever, but it's still sharing words, I guess you could say. But say there's 10 tasks over a 2-day period that you go to someone about, and you walk in there and you tell them one, you come back an hour later telling them other, and you do that repetitively for throughout a 2-day period 10 times. Mm-hmm. Was that one task communicated well?
Probably not.
No, because you said it once.
Yep.
So don't get caught up in the thing, like you said, the timing. Don't get caught up in, well, I spoke to them 10 times, but you may have spoke about 10 different things.
Yeah.
So make sure that when you're communicating that a task or things of that nature, you that one individual thing gets over communicated, not just I'm speaking to them, so I'm communicating with them. No, because you're technically not. It's not what we're referring to here as good communication.
Yeah. What we're more saying is like, okay, in a 3-week period, if I've got 5 new objectives that we're trying to achieve, or say we're pushing 5 new products, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top 3, mm-hmm. and I'm going to hammer them for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And not just, okay, we're going to do 1 week, this one, 1 week, this one. I'm going to take those 3, and every time that we do our huddles, every time we do our one-on-ones, mm-hmm. those 3 are going to be talked about. I'm going to check for understanding and all that.
And you said that about the huddle. I want to throw this in real quick, that this is something we just changed, honestly. What was it? January 1st, 2nd, whenever we came back, is that we last year we did some huddles throughout the year, certain departments, or you could say did huddles. But this year we said every single department, anybody that has a direct report under them is required to have a huddle every morning that's mm-hmm. possible. Every morning. We're talking 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I'll ask you a question, Corey. Has it made a difference?
Oh, a huge impact to my team.
I'm hearing it from multiple people throughout the organization that this huddle is changing everything.
Yeah.
It aligns everybody for the day. See, we align our vision and our values and things of that, and that's a lifetime thing. But let's make sure that we back it down, okay? What is strategic planning? It is communication. It is aligning us. We're communicating on what we're going to achieve in 2025. So now let's back it up even further. So now to achieve that, we're communicating every quarter, are we on pace to hit that goal? Mm-hmm. Then we back it even down further. We communicate, maybe weekly in our staff meeting. We get everybody together. Again, it's a little broader. Mm-hmm. And we communicate this week, are we achieving what we need to achieve to reach the year goal, which ultimately reaches our purpose and our vision, right, down the road. And then let's even back it down one more. Now we have huddles every day. Now the team's got smaller, but we're communicating what can we achieve today that will affect this week, that will affect this quarter, which will affect this year, and which will affect the ultimate vision. And then it goes one more step, and that's one-on-ones.
Yep.
And I know people say, well, man, are you in meetings all day? There's times it feels like it.
It does.
but no, the answer is no, we're not. We really are not. It may seem like it when we say all these things, but these moments of communication are well thought out, are well put together, so that when we're in having them communication, we're actually working and we're truly talking through what the ultimate goal is for that day or for that week or for that month or quarter or year or so forth. So that, I don't know if that kind of understands the steps of communication to ultimately, again, going back to purposeful leader, to carry out that God-given purpose.
Yeah, and we're very, very intentional. Like, that's the other thing that I would say, being very intentional with communication and understanding what you need to do to make that happen. So, well, this next characteristic is one of my favorites, and that is accountability. And so it's a two-pronged approach. Number one, you have to be accountable for your actions, for how you do things, and then you also have to hold your team accountable for their actions and how they do things. And so it's so vital, because here's the thing: you have a purpose, you can have a vision, you can feel like you're communicating all those things well, but if you don't hold their feet to the fire and understand that, hey, listen, and every time we talk about accountability, our first reaction is that, ugh. You know, like leaders, we don't like confrontation a lot of times, and if you do like confrontation,
don't be a leader. I was joking when I said that, but in a sense, you got to work through it.
Yeah, but we get that to it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, accountability through servant leadership is out of love.
Absolutely.
And it comes off like this. So, say I'm having a conversation with, we'll use JP. Love you, JP. And JP's not getting it done. I'm going to hold JP to our standard of who we are as an organization, who we are as people and as followers of Christ. I'm going to sit there and say, hey, JP, look, I love you too much to allow you to not pull where you or be where you need to be. And so when you look at it like that, it's something that it's a blessing to, you know, and I appreciate when I'm held to accountable. Like, because I know when Jimmy says, hey, listen, Corey, you're not getting this aspect or this thing done, I know it's not so he can yell at me or anything like that or get on me. It's so that he sees something better in me and he's calling that out. And so holding people accountable, I mean, it just sets the tone for the team, and it builds the culture of ownership.
Yes.
And so it just, everyone's responsible for their job. They're able to run in their lane, and you get a stronger team performance out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you this, and this kind of ties into more or less the side of when you have to hold yourself accountable, but how do you hold yourself accountable, and why does that matter? Because you have your dad, right? You have other people that help hold you to task, and obviously we're all held accountable to God's standard. But what are areas, you being up at the top, that you hold yourself accountable to?
Whew, man, I'll my coach, if you're listening to this, I'll tell you, you've majorly helped me with that over the last 2 years. You know, in my own life first and foremost, and then me being able to hold others accountable. But for me personally, I kind of have created a few steps to keep me accountable to my purpose and to my vision and mission in life. And number one, we got to. God is the ultimate accountability partner. The Holy Spirit is, if we're honest, that he's probably the best accountability partner we can have. Is, you know, when he tells us to move, we move. But, you know, setting clear benchmarks in my life of when I reach this, this is where I need to be, and that can be, you can dial that down into just a weekly task. Kind of creating a benchmark, creating a plan. I always say this, and y'all hear me say it all the time: it's not a plan until it's on paper. So a plan can actually help hold you accountable, in a sense. There's steps within a plan, so therefore, them steps are actions that have to be taken to ultimately reach this. So that's a form of accountability. So I believe that's one way. Also, that the people in your life, like I said, I have a business, I have a coach, I have other business owners that we are accountable to. I have a advisory group that I'm accountable to. Every 2 weeks we meet and we go over where we are and things that we're facing, and out of that we every time we create action items that have to be completed before our next get together. So in that area, there's a form of accountability. And then just people around you that are not directly in your business. But now this is the one that I want to nail home. This is the number one place that accountability can come from. Of course, first, the number one is the Holy Spirit, but we're talking in my life, in the business. The number one place that you can be held accountable is from your own team. The number one place. If you are not allowing your team to hold you as the leader accountable, you're missing something that's so valuable. Man, you're missing something that is so valuable. Corey, I'll ask you a question. Have I given you the ability to call me out whenever you want?
100%. 100%.
I want my team to call me out because here's the truth. Clinton sometimes gets warped off of his purpose at times.
Yeah.
That's what's so beautiful. So if you have your team around you that is zoned into why we're doing what we're doing, and Clinton gets off course a little bit, because guess what? I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I want them to say, "Hey, Clinton, this is you're off course here.
Let's bump you back over a little bit.
Let's get back on course here.
Yeah.
I'm holding you accountable because I care my team cares just as much as I care about our vision and our purpose. Yeah. I believe that with everything I have. And so they hold me accountable. It's crazy sometimes with my direct reports, the people that are directly under me, how they will call me out on something and I'm like, man, I missed that big time.
Yeah.
And so, man, that's powerful. I love, it sounds weird, but I love when my team calls me out because it just makes me realize that they have the same passion I have.
And here's the thing, for maybe you're not that top tier leader or the CEO or whatever, I'm going to speak from my perspective of having to call you out on certain things or whatever. At first, it's really, really uncomfortable. At first, you're like, and you'll say it. I know you can probably remember instances where I started out as like a joke.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you gonna get that thing done for me, or or whatever. But as you grow and you build a relationship, though, it's the same way. It's out of love. Like, hey, look, man. We are set for a purpose. We have this, and I got to have this. I got to have it done, and I got to know what that is or whatever. And man, it goes from being a really uncomfortable conversation of it's like two friends talking, and you don't let your friends sit there and stray off course too much.
Right.
Like, you may let them, but eventually. You're gonna bump them back in.
And the thing is, when you get to a point as a leader that you are allowing your team to hold you accountable, man, I'll tell you one thing that happens: it's so much easier to hold them accountable. Yeah. So that's the other side of it, the coin, is that it's my job to also hold my team accountable.
Yeah.
So as a leader, if I am vulnerable enough to allow them to hold me accountable, it's so easy for me then to hold them accountable. And it's just it's like a positive impact all the way around. It covers all spectrums of accountability. But I believe that it starts with me being willing, first and foremost, to be held accountable by my team.
Yeah.
And so again, starts with you as a leader. It doesn't start with the team. It starts with you. If you do not embody it, don't expect your team to embody any of these things that we're talking about. It starts with you.
So next, and I would say this plays right into this. It goes into empowering, a purposeful leader empowers his team, and so empowers her team. So it helps unlock their potential and builds confidence, and it fosters independent thinking. Because look, if you are a leader and the only ideas that are coming out of your organization are your ideas, you're missing a massive opportunity.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So when you empower your team, you're letting all the ideas, the different way that people were raised, the way that people think, it's letting all those ideas filter into a big funnel.
Mm-hmm.
You filter it through your values, through your purpose, through the vision for the company, and then you come out with the best idea moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so empowering is such it boosts engagement. It drives creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get really passionate about it because, like, I feel like, this was when I took this job. It was, hey, here you go. We trust you. We hired you. Make this happen. Mm-hmm. And I was able to take who I was, my experiences, and make this thing happen. Mm-hmm. And so, but what would you say, Clinton, is the key to empowering others while maintaining accountability?
Ownership mentality. That answers it. In every single person, we talk about it all the time, that have an ownership mindset. Mm-hmm. Act like it's yours. Because here's the thing, as a leader, if I trust you, Corey, mm-hmm. I am giving the ownership of this department to Corey. I want Corey to put his spin on it. As long as it lines up with our purpose, yep. stays within our core values, and affects our mission in the right way, there you go. Yep. I can't have nothing to say. And that's why it's so important to have those three things. Four things you could say: purpose, vision, mission, and core values. Yeah. Because and if you do not have them, it makes it extremely hard to create an ownership mentality, because nobody has boundaries within how to work. Yeah. Yeah. And now there are times as a leader that you have to say, hey, man, maybe you've taken this ownership thing a little far, and you're not really leading your team well. You're not leading with a servant mentality. Mm-hmm. It's about them first, because there's moments where ownership mentality can say kind of someone say, this is mine. You do it the way I want it. I'm not going to hear you out because I'm the owner of this. And so be careful with that. But yet and still, it is your responsibility as that leader of that department, that job, or whatever that is, to take and put your spin to it. And you mentioned something too about the empowering side of things, that you miss out so much if you don't listen to other people's ideas. Yeah. We call it arguing.
Constructive arguing.
Or constructive criticism, arguing. Constructive arguing. Right now, I'll just be very honest, I sent an email out last night to two of my team members with a constructive argument. And you know what I said at the bottom of the email? I expect a good argument back. Yeah. And here's the reason I say that is because I do have an idea what I think the way we should go. Yeah. But they kind of think it should go a different way. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna give you my argument. Give me yours. But the ultimate thing is, we're gonna do what's best for the company that moves the needle forward the most for our God-given purpose. Yeah. Whatever that is ends up coming out of. And guess what? I got to also say, at times, you know what? You're right. Let's go your way. I have more, by empowering my people, I have had more positive things from my team members that we've done and implemented than I have created myself by a long shot. By a long shot. No doubt about it. So you're missing out if you're not empowering your team. If you're not giving them the ability to speak up, if they don't have the ability to argue with you. And now we're not talking, when we say argue, don't picture us just in a full-on rage at each other. No. We're arguing out of passion. Yeah. That because again, we have the same passion for the right outcome.
More times than not, if there is an apology that has to come after one of those sessions, and I know me and Jimmy bump heads sometimes. I see from my angle what needs to happen. He sees his angle from how it needs to happen, and we butt heads.
Mm-hmm.
That's natural.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is we sometimes have to take a step back and go, hey, look, we're both passionate about the same thing. It's just he wants to take 65 and I want to take 31.
But you're both trying to get to Birmingham.
Yeah, but we're both trying to get to Birmingham.
Yes.
And so, and that's the thing is like with the constructive argument, or constructive arguing, like setting up the ground rules of like, hey, all we're trying to achieve here is the best outcome. And so come up with an idea but be ready to defend that idea. Like, and that's why, but so many times we see one side of it and we don't see, like for me, and a lot of times, like I go, well, we could do this with the sales team and it can make us, so much more efficient and make us better. But while I'm arguing, I am centrally focused on my team. Jimmy is not just looking at the sales team. He may completely agree that, yeah, that's going to make sales team more efficient, whatever, but it may cause the production team to be less efficient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, it's the reason it's so important is you allow others to go, well, that's good, but let's try to find a way that it can encompass other things and make other things function. Mm-hmm. So, but empowering your team, man, is so important. And I will promise you, your team will feel better about coming to work.
Yes. Can you think of any time that me and you had a good one? I was thinking on that. I know we've had them before.
Yeah.
I think there was one. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I got one for you. And I had to admit you're right. On this one, I felt like when it comes to the budget, on marketing budget, that we should set a percentage goal, a percentage every month. You felt like that's detrimental. It makes no sense because if our sales are lower, therefore our marketing budget is lower, and therefore we are not reaching as many people when we need to be reaching people more because we're slower.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, I was saying, well, but then we're forcing our hand. We got to spend that money, which affects net profits.
Yeah.
But then in the end, I realized you're right because that's what we're referring to. It wasn't that we didn't, maybe the percentage thing from the financial side made sense.
Yeah.
But from the sales side made no sense.
Well, in my argument, I think is that's like taking the gas out of the car and coasting it down the hill as far as it can go,
and still expecting it to get to where we want to go.
Yeah, and so, but out of that argument actually came to a compromise. Because and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not in the financials anymore. Thank you, Jesus. I am 100% on sales.
So you're 100% in finances.
Different finances. But so now the way it works, though, it has a set number, but if sales exceed, it operates off a percentage now,
That's
right?
It. Yes.
And so that's both of our ideas put together.
Yes.
And so, that's the thing is, for us, just to come up, I said, no, it just needs to be a set number. You said, no, it needs to be a percentage. What really happened is a compromise that works both ways for both teams.
Yes.
And so,
but that was with the way we have embodied it. That gave you the authority, in a sense, you could say, to argue with me.
Yeah.
And guess what? We're better for it. So
100%.
Yep.
Well, what the next one, resilience and adaptability. Man, what a if you're a leader, man, you got to be able to roll with the punches, baby.
Ooh, yes.
And
I got a good one for this one, I think.
It's no different being a purposeful leader, man. You got to be able to, because challenges are coming, baby,
Yes,
and
they are.
changes are inevitable. Resiliency helps leaders stay steady, and that's the thing. Our team members are looking to us a lot of times in ups and downs, and when you're able to kind of roll with it, stay steady, that's what they're looking for. And it allows us to be able to adapt, pivot when we need to, and then and inspires our team to be perseverant. So let me ask you this: can you share a story? And are you about to tell the story that I think you're going to tell?
I'm not
about
sure.
About being adaptable and us having to pivot. on some stuff?
Well,
Did it recently happen?
No, this was I went back
Okay.
a little bit ago.
Okay, that's fine.
So
We can tell that in another time.
Yeah.
But can you share a story about a time you had to adapt quickly?
yes, and I think there's going to be a lot of business owners that are going to remember these times, and that was back in COVID. Okay, so let me explain this. If y'all remember, coming into the New Year's, into December, we heard about COVID, right? But we didn't realize what COVID was actually going to do to us as far as a company and as far as businesses and things of that nature. So I remember we were, okay, it was January, February of that year, and we had big plans. We had big plans for that year, big plans. And we were going to, we were going to attack this thing with a vengeance, and we we're going to make things go. Well, right in that moment, there was also a change that had to happen in my business. Just a few things that we were tweaking and so forth. But come March, I was in Florida, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, they're fixing to shut this country down.
Mm-hmm.
But we have big plans for the year. What are we going to do? And we're talking I had a week to make a decision here. Are we going to be allowed to work? Are we going to be able to do things? And on top of that is, we're never going to reach our goal now because nobody's at work. Nobody's making money. We're it's going to kill us. I mean, our business is going to fail, or maybe not fail, but we got to adapt quickly. So what we did is we came back from that trip and we said, okay, within a week we were figuring out how we're going to cut way back, cut way down. It's going to get slow. It's going to do this. We want to survive this. So we thought we had it all figured out, and we had a great plan laid out. We're going to still take care of our people, but there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to have to be kind of laid off for the time being, still being taken care of and all this. But guess what happened? Within a 3 to 4 week window, after making them plans, it's like somebody flipped a switch, and we were so busy. We found out we could work. People had money from the COVID stimulation thing, and the package or whatever that was, and we blew up. We were so busy. So I went and restricted our people, in a sense, in one of the most ended up being one of the most busiest times we had. So you're talking about having to adapt and change twice in a matter of so quickly, just like that. And honestly, when we were so busy and when that all happened, it was one of the most stressful times. We were so busy. We had so much work, but man, so we had to adapt twice just over a 2-month period from we were going to be extremely slow to busier than we've ever been.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say that was a time where, man, I think I lost about all my gray hair came from was over that little stretch of time because just making sure people were taken care of, and it went from that to, oh man, we got to take care of the customers now because there's so many of them. So and I could go down a list. There's so many. There's a lot of small things that I've had to be adaptable to, and resilience is very key in all this. I believe that no matter what you face, just be resilient in it. Make sure that you never quit, you never give up, and you just keep fighting through the times that you have to be adaptable. Some people just want to throw in the rag when that time comes when they have to adapt quickly. Just throw in the towel and we're going to move on. But that's where the resilience comes in over that moment. Is saying no, I'm gonna make these tough calls, I'm gonna make this tough change, and to survive, and I'm gonna be resilient through it. So
yeah. Well, all right. Next one, and this is number 9. We're kind of gearing down now. Is humility, man, and how important that is. The willingness to learn from others. Hey, I don't have it all together. Like I'm still trying. We're still trying to figure this thing out. But it just encourages people to be, have that stronger team environment. That, hey, when the top leaders, are humble because they're empowering, all those things are approachable. Man, it just makes it so important. And So Clinton, and we've already kind of touched on the flowers and stuff like that of how we do that. But how would you say humility has helped you grow as a leader?
Whew, man. I'll just say this Sunday, I felt like God spoke to me clearly that I got to work on some pride. So I don't know if this is a good answer for him, but no, I believe that humility as a purposeful leader is probably, again, one of those top ones, up there towards the top. And a good purposeful leader, one of the most valuable things he can do is admit his failures openly. Admit when he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever worked with somebody that you knew was wrong and he knew was wrong, or she knew was wrong, but would never own up to it?
Yeah.
That's miserable, is it not?
Oh, it's horrible.
Because everybody in the room knows it.
Yeah.
But nobody's willing to speak up because that person acts like they don't know it.
Yeah.
So, but when a leader openly admits a failure to you, let's say, doesn't it feel good and understand that, hey, I can now be openly open up about my failures as well. And so staying humble through your leadership is so vital, because pride will destroy you. Understand that you are not always right. Understand that, you are not the big dog, like you want to say it sometimes, like you want to feel sometimes.
Yeah.
Look what I built. And I believe that when you have a God-given purpose that you're focused on, and you allow God to move in you, that's one of the first things that He's going to reveal to you as a leader, is that you got to stay humble, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've entrusted you with this. This is not yours. This is mine. This is God's. And I'm just entrusted. You're just here managing it anyway for a while. So don't think it's all yours. Don't think it's yours. Don't think it's, because let me tell you something. God's going to humble you so quickly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let me tell you something. You'll get humbled if you're a prideful leader. You're not a servant leader. I'm sorry, you're not. And I'll say it for what it is. Now I will admit this. There are times where it can creep in quickly. It has crept in for me at times. Again, just recently, something as, some of the successes that we've had, I've been tempted to say, man, this feels good.
Yeah.
And it does feel good, but I was doing it in not the right way.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And God spoke to me so clearly. He's like, man, what have we talked about for so many years about, you're here just to manage what I gave you. That's all you're here for. This is not yours. Stay humble. This is a God-given purpose. This is not a Clinton-given purpose.
Yeah.
And so remember who you're doing it for.
Yeah.
And then the servant side of things. Remember also who you're doing it for.
Yeah.
Meaning the people around you.
Well, there's a difference from, being proud and it just being pride. You can be proud of it.
Absolutely.
Like, you could be proud of the accomplishments and the things that, like, I think of it like, hey, I'm proud that I'm a part of this journey. But when you sit there, and it's always just, it's when you sit there, and this is a great detector. If you feel like that if you were pulled out of the organization or out of the team or whatever, it would completely fail, you probably got a little pride in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Probably got some seed there. Like, yes, I think I am so honored to be on this team and so honored to get to do what we do. But at the end of the day, if something happened, if it's a God-given purpose, y'all gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the linchpin.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Absolutely.
And that's the thing that I'd sit there and tell you guys as a viewer, to be humble. A lot of times it takes that self-evaluation. Mm-hmm. It takes that looking inside and say, hey, what's internal, and so I really think that as leaders, so many times we have to be able to be humble, and we have to admit when we're wrong. Mm-hmm. When you admit when you're wrong, man, it just breeds a culture of trying to think of the word in my mind, just a culture of being real and authentic inside of your team, and because you're not perfect.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And
not perfect.
Yeah. It's one of them things where just make sure that your purpose is, again, not about yourself, and that's where pride can come in quickly. Is when it's all about you. So as a leader.
The last one we're going to talk about, and then we're going to get into some fun stuff, but is ethical and impactful. Here's the thing. You can have purpose, you can have a vision, you can have a mission, you can have core values and all that good stuff. You can be a servant leader, but if you don't have integrity and ethics, then all that stuff goes out the window.
Absolutely.
You got to say what you mean, you got to do what you say, and it builds such a foundation of trust with your team, and it's something that it's going to pass down. The biggest impact for me, though, I would say, is it builds credibility. Mm-hmm. If I say something to my team, they know, hey, I'm going to get it done. Now, does that always mean I'm going to get it down on their necessary timeline? Sometimes it don't. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to try to get it done, and I'm going to communicate when that's going to get done. But what would you say, or how do you ensure that your decision align with your values?
One of the things you mentioned, core values, but I think that's one of the things that's very key to this, and I'll explain why here in a second. But man, being ethical is the beginning of impact. Okay? Give me an individual that has made an impact that is truly ethical, that may not be ethical, that may not have integrity. Oh, they make an impact, all right, but it's not the right kind of impact. And so it's very key that integrity, that you embody it, that you said earlier, that you do what you say, and not only that, just make sure that when your team is looking to you to understand or setting up what the company expects us when it comes to integrity. Okay, again, it starts with the leader. The leader has to have that ethical spirit and understanding so that the team trusts him. That's the first step. Then what happens is, after that trust is formed and built, you start seeing a team that also embodies it. Make sure, but it comes from the good Lord. Let's be honest about that. I don't believe you can have integrity if Christ is not living in your heart, because we're naturally a sinful people. We're naturally somebody that doesn't like it. We want what's best for us. Kind of goes back to humility. But make sure that your integrity and that you're ethical in everything, and even if it hurts you. Here's the key to this. Even if it hurts you in your business and your organization somewhat, does not mean it gives you the right to step away from integrity. Because let's be clear, there's some good deals out there that you can make that ain't very ethical.
Yeah.
That maybe, man, we could use that cash flow right now. Are you willing to say no to that because it does not embody integrity? It's not ethical. Are you willing to give that up? And I think that's where it comes into. But getting back to the core values now, how does every decision, how does it align to my values? Well, it goes back to the core values. I say this all the time. Picture a river, or let's say a winding road. That probably makes a little bit more sense, with ditches on each side. Our core values are that pavement. Sometimes you're on this side of the road a little, sometimes you're on this side of the road, but guess what you are? You're still on the road. You're still, one of ours is integrity. Let's use that for example. If you embody integrity and you have integrity, that means you're on the road. The second that you pull off into the ditch is the second that you have left the building, you could say.
Yeah.
That's a decision that is outside of our values of who we are.
Yeah.
That's why core values are so important. You see core values everywhere. It's kind of like that servant leadership thing. But core values are only as good as how much they're embodied.
Yep.
You can throw writing all over a wall. You can have 100 of them. You can do all this and that. But if you don't embody them, it does zero for you. Honestly, it makes you look kind of like, well, this is what we do, but we do opposite of what we say. And so I believe every decision and I encourage my leaders too, that every decision that we make, if you have to make it, goes back to ownership mentality. If it's within our core values, make it.
Yeah.
Let's roll. But the second it leaves the road, what happens, Corey? You already know it. It's not even. It's not like it's something that we even think about, because we know that if I choose to not have integrity, I'm choosing to not be part of this purpose.
That's the thing, is you're choosing to leave the team.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not what we've done as an organization is we've put up a box and said, hey, look, you stay in this way. If I ever have to leave or I've got to step out, like when I come and do this, and I talk to my team like, hey, look, stay inside the core values while I'm gone, everything will be fine. Mm-hmm. But if you make a decision outside of the core values, then we got to have a difficult conversation. And so it just, to me, it's freeing. I know that inside of that box that I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to make a good decision. But when you make a decision outside of the core values, the team didn't leave you. You left the team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's the beautiful thing of it.
Yes.
So obviously we want everyone to make decisions on our core values, but sometimes it don't happen. Yeah. And sometimes we have to have those difficult conversations. But
it gives the leaders the understanding that when somebody does that's the next step is, I mean, it's not like, well, let's sit down and talk about that. Since they left it, does it really matter? Yeah. No, it's black and white. It matters.
Oh yeah.
100%. It matters a lot.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, y'all know how I am passionate about it. I can't so.
No, but, that's very important. Well, so I just want to briefly go over all the characteristics we believe, and in the chat, here's what I want for y'all. If you think we missed one, or maybe one stood out to you, hit us up in the chat, or maybe while we're going into this next phase, you got a question for us. Maybe you say, hey, how does that apply here? Let us know, and we'll try to answer those here in just a second. Mm-hmm. But so the 10 that we went over today is authentic, purpose-driven, visionary, servant leader, excellent communicator, accountability, empowering, a resilient and adaptable, humble, and ethical and impactful. Mm-hmm. And so I think all of those are, if you've got, most of those, or maybe you say, hey, Corey, I feel like I've got a handle on 4 or 5 of them, but I need to grow. Man, you're on the right path to being a purposeful leader. And we say this all the time, that's one of the biggest things that we try to embody as a team is we lead with a purpose. We do all those things that we can try to affect not just our team, but the world. And so, Clinton, your kind of takeaway, what's one final piece, say a listeners on here, they're young in leadership, maybe they've been doing it for a while, but they say, hey, I'm trying to adapt and change and trying to be a purposeful leader. What's something that you could give them to kind of help them take that step to being a purposeful leader?
Man, I believe that, and I look back over my life and I see back, 5-10 years ago, I see where I was and where I am today, and what it's done is revealed how much more growth I need, how much further I have to go, how much more I have to learn, how much little I actually do know. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage you that you take a step back for a second and truly embody who you are and find out what your God-given purpose is first. It's got to start there. It has to start there. Don't skip that step. That's the most important step there is to truly find out why you're here. And you can be a leader at a McDonald's. That doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose here. That does not mean that. Yep. Find that purpose. And your purpose may not be to flip burgers. Your God-given purpose ain't to probably flip burgers. Your God-given purpose is to, while you flip your burgers, it is this.
Yeah.
That is the purpose. And so start with that. And then I want to say this too. Man, give yourself a break. Man, you're young. I have people tell me that all the time. So all I'm doing is I'm just repeating what they say. Yeah. They're older. It's like, give yourself a break, man. You came a long ways. You said, so you can sit here and say, man, I embody 5 of these, but man, I'm totally there's 5 of them that I'm not. I'm just a failure. Mm-hmm. No, stop. Don't do that to yourself. I've done it so many times, just feeling like I'm an utter failure. Don't do that to yourself. This is not something that comes overnight. This is not something that is quick. If you want to be a purposeful leader, it takes time. It takes growth. It takes putting people in your life that you see have a purpose, asking them questions, learning from them, getting support around you. It makes all the difference. And so yeah, just make sure that every step you take is a step forward towards purposeful leadership. And I promise you, you'll wake up one day and realize, man, I have came a long ways. By the grace of God, I have came a long ways in this. But it was because I chose every day that I wake up to take a step forward. Mm-hmm. Every day that I wake up, I'm going to be more authentic. Every day that I wake up, I'm going to be more purpose-driven. Every day that I wake up, I'm going to be more of a visionary, and so forth, all the way down through. Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's probably you could probably come up with 100 purposeful leader things, but that it's not. It's about just continual growth, over time, and just continuing to allow God to use you for your purpose, and eventually you'll get to a point where there's kind of a momentum behind it. Yeah. And you start seeing, you get excited about the growth you're seeing in your life. Yeah. You get excited to seeing what God is doing in your life. You're like, man, I'm not who I used to be. I that doesn't bother me like it did before. And you start to see these things happen. Now, there's a comment here that I want to say. Remember, there's always a new devil at a new level. Yeah. And when I say it sounds whatever. I use it that way. I like to use it that way to make it stick. There's always a new devil at every new level. So remember that as you're going through. Just you may figure out how to be a great communicator in the stage you are today. But in a year from now, you may be at a different level in your organization and your business that you have to adapt. You may all of a sudden stop and see, oh man, our communication, a year ago we had great communication. Why are we not now? Well, maybe you're using the same tool. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you've reached a new level. And so therefore, again, you've faced another obstacle, a big obstacle that now I have to adapt my communication to make sure that it's at the same level it was before, because we are at a new level. Yep. And so I would encourage you as you go through that you keep that in mind, that the next stage you get to, you're going to have to adapt again. Mm-hmm. And then again and again and again and again and again. This is not something that you get to. It is something that you have to embody your whole life.
You never arrive.
And you never arrive. Mm-hmm. But you get better.
Yeah, I had a football coach who used to say this to us during hot summer workouts and all that stuff. He used to yell this at me and Brandon Lynch. Shout out to Coach Matt, but he used to tell us that every day, if you get 1% better, in 100 days, you'll be 100% better. And so, that's a really cheesy way of saying, it's not something that all of a sudden you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be the world's best purposeful leader. What it takes is you taking one step forward every single day, and then in a year's time look back and see the growth. And I think that as leaders sometimes we don't do that enough. Mm-hmm. Is turn around sometimes and look where God has been faithful in our lives and see the growth that He's done. But real quick, I want to call out a couple. I was while you were talking, I was looking over chat, and I seen a couple of ones that kind of stand out to me. Gerald Yoder said on the authenticity question, he said, just being vulnerable, and that's 100% right, Gerald. For your team to feel like you are authentic, you got to be vulnerable with them. Brandon Lynch 48 says Clinton is a great visionary leader. Not only does he put in the work to find and push the vision, but he looks to his team for advice and truly considers their thoughts.
I'll give that flower to God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. I
How much you
appreciate
pay him for that comment?
Man, just, hey, keep it quiet, Brandon. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Brandon. Seriously, that means a lot.
Yeah.
It really does.
And then Cypher, which is Jason. Clinton and Raymond empowered me when I started to become the best I could. Now I hold myself to a higher standard than most to complete the job and make the future for the company. And so, man, just great stuff, guys. And we really appreciate you guys commenting and stuff. That means a lot to us. And we're, as we do these lives, we're gonna get better at finding ways to integrate you guys into the conversation, because that's what we want. We talk a lot and off the camera and stuff about, man, we want to hear from our audience more. Mm-hmm. We want to hear about the things you guys are passionate about, things that you guys want to hear us talk about, and you may sit there and say, hey, Corey, I disagree with that point. We're fine with disagreements. We can constructively argue over it.
Yes.
And try that out. But man, I've enjoyed the conversation today. But man, let's get into the fun part.
Yes.
So
you ready to do this?
I guess so.
Well, we received this package back. It would have actually been over a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And like we said, I got some messages on my phone where Corey was about to lose it, that we couldn't open it.
They hid it from me.
Yeah, I actually hid it from everybody.
Yeah.
I think there was like 2 people that knew where it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were honored that we received this from YouTube. Guys, this here is not because of us. Let's be clear. This is because of y'all.
Yeah.
We would not be doing this and have this if it wasn't for that. So, you ready?
Yeah.
Open her up.
Let's
do it. I'll let you cut the tape, and then we'll let y'all see this here. All right, let's see. Got one more right there.
I've been waiting on this.
Be careful, yeah. Corey.
I'm cutting. You're supposed to. What is it? What's the saying? Cut to yourself.
I think you're.
Let me see it.
Yeah,
right
I think you just got to cut the top of it, like it's just. It's got a little tab on it.
There we go.
All right, so here we're gonna do this. Corey, you might want to catch it, because
yeah.
Let me move my mic here. So I want everybody to be able to see it really good. So here we go. I don't want to drop it. Ooh, here we go.
Nice foam on that thing.
Let's see what we got going on here. All right.
A lovely letter.
All right. Ooh, boy.
Look at that.
Okay, so let's get this thing out of here, and then we're going to read the letter from YouTube.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, we got some more stuff in there.
Yeah.
There we go, guys. It's hard to see it. I'll try to get y'all to see it, but what it says presented to Yoders Talk for passing 100,000 subscribers.
Hey,
wow.
Look at that.
I'm going to swap it to your camera so I can
Okay,
get
yeah. Swap it to my camera. So we'll show you here. If I can get it. There you go.
Hey, that's so nice.
There you go. Thank you, YouTube.
How about that?
Thank you. That is awesome.
Yeah, and thank you to our followers. That is awesome. We're actually.
Corey, I'll let you hold that a little bit.
Let me check this thing out. We are working on slight redesigns. I know everyone that is, just a huge fan of this tree back here. I'm sorry to tell you, but during season 4, the tree's going to be gone.
Yes.
So if you need a lovely plant, come see us. We'll hook you up.
We'll let you have it.
I'll even sign it for you.
Sign it for you.
But we're getting rid of the tree, and we're going to put in a lovely little shelf up here, and this is going to be displayed up there for you guys. But man, that is incredible. Maybe my kid can finally be proud of me now. That's all I did it for, is just to make my son proud of me. But wow.
Yeah, I was talking to my son last night about telling him that we're opening it. We had talked years back. We were like, man, wouldn't it be cool one day to have a play button from YouTube?
Yeah.
And wow. So I'm going to read there's actually 2 notes here. from YouTube, and I'm going to read that. First one says, congratulations on your subscriber milestone. We are honored to take part in recognizing your achievement and want your experience to be exceptional. Your reward was inspected and packaged with great care by Rick. Nice. All right, the letter from the YouTube CEO says, do you remember your first subscriber? Your 100th? And I haven't read this yet, so
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to say. So your 100th, your 1,000th subscriber, do y'all remember that? I remember we hit 1,000. I remember we hit 100, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And we hit 1,000. I was like, what has just happened? And if I remember right, Sean, didn't we hit it overnight? One night, it's just like we blew up like 500-600 subscribers and went over 1,000. Like we woke up the next morning, and we're like, what just happened?
Yeah, it was the second episode. We released the second episode, or it was the second and third episode that pushed us over 1,000.
Yeah.
And we come into work the next morning, we were over 1,100, and it was still climbing, and we were just sitting there on our phones, just like kept refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was just like more, and more. It was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was remarkable. But I'll go continue to read. Chances are you do remember your 1,000th subscriber. Chances are you do, and we know that you definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. I think we all remember that.
Yeah.
I was actually driving down the road, refreshing. I will be honest, I wanted to see it turn over.
Oh, I did. I was at home, and it was because it was during the break, the Christmas break, and so I think all of us, like, once it got to like, it was kind of funny. Because once it got to like 99.99 or 90 or something like that, 900, y'all know what I'm saying.
99,999.
There you go. Like we were all like in our group chat, like, hey guys, it's about to happen, and like all of us were just sitting there and hitting refresh. And
didn't it take about 5 minutes to get that last one?
That last one lasted. Whoever you are, and I would love to find out who they are. Whoever that was. Man, you could have hit that button a little faster because it felt like an eternity.
We all had Discord open. We was all just sitting there watching. I had the laptop with live subscriber count going. Like, it was so intense when it was like rolling over, and in that last one, it was just like, I don't know, it just stopped.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'll continue reading here. It says, your fans may have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through friends, or maybe you showed up as a recommended video. No matter how they came to your channel, your audience stayed, and their numbers increased because of you and the community you've built. We are proud to honor your impressive milestone of reaching 100,000 subscribers with a Silver Creator Award. Congratulations. We know that you have many more stories to share with your community, and we know your fans can't wait for you. And we know your fans can't wait for you to amaze them with much more of your comments and creativity. So keep creating, keep building. We can't wait to see what you'll do next, and we're here to support you along the way. And who knows, when you reach your 1,000,000th subscribers, we may just write you again and ask you, do you remember your 100,000th subscriber? Sincerely, Neil Moham, however you say that, YouTube CEO.
Well, that is awesome.
That is nice. Thank you. So yeah, there it is. There it is. One more time. I'll show it here. One more time. There it is. That's a big milestone, and again, thank y'all so much for everything. And this is our reward with y'all together. So there we go.
Awesome, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it today. I think we've got some plans to maybe do this again and try out some stuff, and we're going to keep tweaking before we get into season 4. But I've enjoyed it. Clinton, I know you've given us a ton of insight on just being a leader, and things, and man, it's just ready to go on and get back to work. And
yes, we got we got good things coming up, guys, and remember that our channel. I've had this question asked before, that are you always just going to talk about leadership? Are you always going to just talk about that? And the truth is yes.
Yeah.
We feel that that's what God has put us here for. just to chat about it. Now, we do want to get a little add some spice to it at times. We're going to have some fun. We got great guests coming on next season, and we're still working on kind of filling a few spots there. And I'll say this: it would actually be an honor if anybody that's watching this reaches out to us. I think it would be so cool to bring on 2 subscribers and I didn't even tell Sean this, so I'm just kind of, and I haven't even said this to Corey, but if you're a subscriber and you want to come onto our podcast, we're going to try to get a couple of y'all on over the next few seasons.
Yeah.
Just to chat. And I'd love to hear what impact, through this that God, or, through what we've shared that God has had on your life.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear that. So reach out to us. I think Sean, do we have a place to contact off of YouTube? I think there's an email address and things of that nature.
Yes, we got it should be hidden, but you can click it to view it. But there's like a little marketing email that you can jump in and email us, and it comes directly to us, so we can get that contact information and get you scheduled in.
Yeah. So I'm authorizing you, Sean, to make that happen. If somebody reaches out, let's get them on. So we'd love to have you here. You good with that, Corey?
Hey, I'll talk to anybody that's sitting here.
Yes. So it would be an honor. So. Well, guys, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for people that stuck around. I think we had a really good time, really good stream. A lot of people commented, shared things. So I really, really do appreciate everybody that participated today. Lord willing, we will see y'all in a few weeks on another live. We're not exactly sure what we're going to do on that live, but we're going to have some fun with it. And it would be an honor to have y'all back here. Tell your friends about it. It will be on a Friday in 2 weeks, right, Sean?
Yes, sir, it will.
So that would be let's just check my calendar here. Be the 7th. On the 7th, Friday the 7th at 8:30ish, probably in the morning, somewhere in there, we will be back live, so we'd be honored to have you here.
Yeah.
So, again, so thank y'all so much.
Yep.
And always remember, as we sign off, as we always do, Corey.
That's right.
Thank you for joining our channel, and always remember to lead with a purpose and be great. We love y'all, pray for y'all, and we hope God blesses you thoroughly the remainder of this weekend, this year, and your future. See y'all later.